What up,
What
yo?
up, man? Not much. Just chilling. How you?
I'm good, man. How's life?
Pretty good. Just trying to keep busy.
Yeah, man.
Yeah.
Album season, baby. Album season.
Hell yeah. Nah, I'm so hyped to get this one out. It's been a minute, like a
Dude,
year, like over a
I
year
know we
since.
we've talked on and off, and I know that you've been working on this for at very least like six
Yeah.
plus months, I feel like, putting this together rollout wise.
Yeah. No, there's a lot of behind the scenes stuff, right? Like after all the songs are done. So
Yeah.
a lot of stuff to take care of, but hyped to get it out now and
Dude,
onto better stuff after.
absolutely, man. Well, yo, everybody hopping in. If you don't know who this guy is, this is my good homie and phenomenal artist, J-Wright. He is the first special guest of my new little series I'm starting every Wednesday called Wavves Wednesday. So I couldn't think of a better artist to kick off this with. Kind of worked out fairly seamlessly. J-Wright is dropping an album on the 15th, right? So 2 days?
Yep. Yep. A little less than 2 days. So wherever you're at, midnight on the 15th. So
Hell yeah. So everybody hopping in here, I do have some questions lined up, but we're going to just generally shoot the shit. If any fans
okay.
hop in, feel free to submit questions using the little, question mark square thing at the bottom, and we can do some fan questions, of course. But yeah, check out J-Ride. Absolutely. If you are watching this and you don't know who he is, you are fucking sleeping and you need to wake up because he is, he's on the fucking rise, to say the least. We've worked in the past. If you're a fan of the song Up Too Late of mine, him and I worked on that. And I'm a big fan about how that song came out. So,
Oh yeah.
yeah, man. I mean, dude, it's super exciting. I mean, I feel like a lot of people don't know all the stuff behind the scenes that goes into making an album, and not even making an album, like physically making the songs, but like designing your rollout plans and getting the artwork together for the singles, choosing the singles, getting the features and all that kind of stuff. There's so many moving parts that go into that kind of stuff.
Mm-hmm.
And like part of the reason I wanted to kind of like do this series and have other artists on and stuff is talk about the things that like the normal fan doesn't, like, you know what I mean, automatically see. Like that's
Yeah.
something they might not know about. But I mean, what's been the most difficult thing for you, like putting this album together?
I would say just finding all the song because there's a lot of like replacing songs, and since the album's so old and since I've been working on it for so long, I was running into a lot of the songs that I had on the album ready just weren't as good as the new songs I was putting out while I was kind of waiting for everything to roll out. So just trying to fit everything together and piece everything together to make sure it's the best work I'm possibly putting out. And I've replaced a few songs. Like Youth was a new song, and Changes was a new song that I brought in. Kind of while
Youth is my jam, dude. Youth like feels like youth. It feels like nostalgia.
Yeah, no, I try to keep it each song like a different subject almost. Like obviously Living Well is more of like a harder, like just showcasing like fast rap and stuff like that, and then Changes was get a little more of like rougher, like talking about my childhood and the stuff I went through, and then Move On is mainly about like just obviously moving on in life, a little sadder vibe, and then just kind of bouncing up here and there and trying to change the subject or change the vibe of each song, because that's what I really like to do. Just
Yeah, your audio is cutting out a little bit. I don't know. Instagram is fucking up, but I don't know. Can you hear me now?
yeah.
Oh, there we go. Yeah, I don't know why the audio cut out.
Huh.
But I mean, dude, that's so dope. I mean, like, you know, I think one of the biggest things, especially in today's music industry, where I mean, it's like singles driven and people are so wish washy with like different styles that they like. I mean, having like a body of work that like doesn't sound like, oh, all these songs are the same vibe, being able to have at the same time a cohesive project, but to include all the songs that like you said, like, one is more sad, one is a more like upbeat type of song. I was just talking about this. I think I was on live actually like 2 weeks ago. And somebody like asked me like what style of music is like my favorite. And I went on kind of a rant, and you made me think of it just saying that, like, and I think you and I as artists can relate this way. Like,
Yeah.
if you're feeling like, if you have a chip on your fucking shoulder, you feel like making like an upbeat, like gym anthem, like, you know what I mean? Like high BPM type shit. If you're feeling like all in your feelings, like you might sing more on the track. You might have more melody. You know, the content is more sad. You know, if you're feeling happy, maybe it's a more pop leaning song. And a lot of people, I feel like, get so caught up on like, oh, go back to your old style or make this type of shit. And it's like, if you have an album of all the same songs, I don't think that would really be a good album. So like your album kind of having a, you know, a well-rounded, being a well-rounded body of work like that, I think is super, super rare. And it's super exciting, I think, for the fans to hear.
Appreciate that, bro. Yeah. No, I try to bounce. I think our song that we have on the album definitely is like each song kind of has its own unique like sound to it. Like, so our song's definitely more of like a darker, but has like the poppier melody to it, which you did, and then the darker rap, and then we have like more poppier songs to more like almost R&B like type vibe for one song, and then more like a harder trap type sound. So
yeah,
definitely bouncing around.
No, that's exciting. If anybody caught that, I'm on the album as well. So fucking listen to that shit.
Just kidding,
yeah, that's exciting. Dude, pop songs are fun to make, man. I always enjoy, like, people talk shit on pop music. I don't know. Pop songs are fun to make. A catchy hook just feels right. I don't know.
Nah, I mess with them. That's kind of like, you'll hear my new style kind of after the album drops. Like, things are gonna switch up a little bit, especially for the summer.
Yeah, elaborate on that.
Just my style. Like, so as you can see, like with the album, it's like a darker, like the album cover's a little darker. Like some of the music's a little more sad. And just over the time, I've kind of like gotten out of that phase where I'm in a different mindset and in a different like area or in a different place right now, where I want to make more positive songs and more I don't know, more catchier songs, I guess. So it's definitely going to be a blend, more of a stronger blend between pop and rap, with obviously real meaning behind it. It's not just going to be like all like material, or like not going to be all just like fake stuff, but real meaning behind it. But definitely more of like a poppier sound to it.
Yeah, that's exciting, man. That's fucking exciting. I mean, like, going back even way further, I know, like, when we met the first time in person, I think it was in Boston, right? I mean, I guess, that's the only time we've met. I don't know why I said for the first time. That's the only time we've met.
Yeah.
So we met in Boston, I don't know, like 2+ years ago. And at that time, you were living in New Hampshire, right?
Yep. Living in here. Yeah. I was almost moving out, but that was like probably right before I moved to Georgia. But yeah. So been living there for a while.
What are some of like, and I can relate to this somewhat, like I live in Lancaster, Pennsylvania, which is like fucking Amish country, bumfuck. Like there's a city here, and there's a cool downtown scene and shit, which is really cool. But like, you don't think, it's not like a music mecca. You know what I mean? It's not like, oh, New York, oh, even like Boston or Atlanta. What were like some of the main challenges that you had, and probably led you to like leave New Hampshire and go to Georgia? What were some of the main challenges you put up with, like, in making music in a place like New Hampshire?
I mean, not as many as I originally thought there would be, because obviously, like when you're in New Hampshire, I feel like moving to a bigger city would be like kind of the main way to get into the music industry. Obviously, the fact that you can't really network with a lot of people in New Hampshire is definitely a big one, because it's great to like meet people face to face. Obviously, you can work over like over the internet, stuff like that, but you don't really get to build as strong of a relationship as like meeting in person and working on stuff, collaborating. So I'd say that was the biggest thing when I moved to Atlanta, where I was able to work with a kid in Atlanta that had his own studio, and just kind of get that more different vibe. Obviously, my manager lives in Atlanta, so I'm able to connect with him a lot more. He has a lot of connections with like promoters and different venues and stuff like that. So been able to meet a lot of those people and go to different shows and just network that way as well. So I'd say the big thing is networking. Also, like doing live shows is a lot easier in Atlanta, especially if since my manager knows a lot of people around here, so it was easier to get into different opening events and stuff like that. But other than that, I mean, streaming wise, I think nowadays like a lot of it is over the internet. So
Yeah.
you just have to understand how to market yourself and how to like really push yourself out there, and you can reach like anyone in the world really, pretty much just
Yeah.
from wherever you're at.
Yeah, dude,
But
I super agree with that. I was just having a conversation a few weeks ago with somebody, and they were kind of like talking about similar to what you were talking about, like in terms of just the power of the internet and how it's totally revolutionized, like being able to work together and you
mhm.
know, you could make music in New Hampshire and be doing, millions of streams. I could be living in
Yeah,
Lancaster, Pennsylvania, and you can build a fan base there. And like, I feel like a lot of people, and I'm sure some people disagree with this, like, if you're, because I've seen a lot of artists do this kind of stuff, and it's not necessarily something I'm super in agreement with. I mean, it doesn't matter what the fuck I think, they can do whatever they want. But like, you know, I think like when before you really have built something yourself, making the big move to like a New York or an LA, especially like in LA, like being in Pennsylvania, we're East
hmm,
Coast guys. So like making the move to LA before you really haven't built something on your own that you can kind of take there and kind of leverage that, if that makes sense.
yeah,
I know that kind of
no,
sounds
definitely,
bad, like, oh, I'm leveraged, but like that's business and that's like networking and marketing and stuff like that. Like there's so many people I know that, oh, well, you know what, I'm making the move to LA. It's like you just became, there is obviously value in like going to a place like LA, and you might stumble upon somebody at a bar or at whatever that you
hmm,
can sort of connection. But it's like you really screw yourself, I feel like, when you don't have anything built, like you don't have any type of movement or anything on your own. Like your music doesn't have much like legs to stand on, so to speak, and then you go like jump in the biggest like talent pond in the world in LA.
yeah,
You
no,
can get
I
you can get
agree.
lost real quick.
I think the one thing about living in like a smaller area like New Hampshire, stuff like that, is that your music doesn't really have as many like influences. I mean, obviously you have influences on bigger artists, but like if you're in LA, you're like pretty much everyone is gonna be an artist and trying to influence
Yeah,
you in some way of like making this type of music or doing this type of like meeting with these type of producers, stuff like that. But when you're kind of secluded in that sense, you're a little more like on your own, I'd say, and kind of figuring out your own sound, not really having other. Obviously, I'm not talking about like your influences, like with like saying Drake or like Eminem, something like that, but like other like peer influences where they're trying to control your music and say
yeah,
what you should make. So say like when you're in like more of a secluded area, it kind of like gives you your own opportunity to find what type of artist you are and make your own unique sound.
yeah, for sure, for sure. And correct me if I'm wrong, you're doing music full time now, right? Like you're financially full time in the music.
Yep. Full time with music. I was doing the clothing line, and I'm kind of holding off until all this Corona stuff's over. But
Yeah, thank
right
you,
now,
Rona.
yeah. Say that again.
I said thank you, Rona, for
Yeah,
fucking.
I know. But right now, yeah, 100% music. And yeah, trying to open up different avenues. Obviously, like don't want it to be 100% streaming, so I'm
Yeah,
always looking at different avenues to take and stuff
yeah,
like that. So
diversify. Yeah,
yeah,
absolutely. Dude, well,
for
that's
sure.
amazing. Like I don't want like anybody that's watching and that's like maybe an aspiring artist or anything, or is a fan of J-Wright or myself, like that's a fucking huge step. Like being able to do music full time, like financially dependent fully on the music and being able to sustain yourself that way, that is huge. What's like
Definitely ter-
what's like your day to day look like doing music full time? What's like your day to day? Like what do you do?
um so I mean obviously it's different, or it's kind of changed now since we're kind of stuck at the house, but really just try to stay focused, stay active. I feel like obviously doing music full time doesn't mean you're doing music all day like 100% of the day, because
Yeah,
that's like, unrealistic. But
work yourself out.
I yeah, I try to stay active in the like when I wake up in the morning, like work out, obviously, like try to like just get my brain ready for the day and all that stuff. And then I'd say like mid-afternoon is when like 2 is when I usually hit the studio and just either work on what like projects I'm working on. I started doing like all my own mixing and mastering now, so
Oh wow.
keeps me a little more busy that way. Where I'm not having like I have a lot more stuff to do because I'm doing all my own music. And then yeah, doing writing, stuff like that. I mean, I have found I've written a shit ton of songs, but now that you're kind of in the same routine over and over again every day, you're getting into that more of that writing block. For me personally, but
Yeah.
I've been trying to just figure out different ways to spark inspiration, but
Yeah. Dude, same shit
not
for me.
super exciting.
No, dude, it's the same shit for me. Like, I think
Yeah.
about this every single day where, like, you know, especially being in quarantine, so to speak, or, you know, whatever.
Yeah.
It's so hard. Like, if you're stuck in the same house, like, like, the highlight of your day is, like, walking around your neighborhood. There's only so much inspiration you're going to have doing that kind of stuff. And like,
Yeah.
it's frustrating as hell. And it kind of, like, bridges into the next question I have for you. Like, I'm curious, like, so I consider myself a pretty big, like, guy in terms of, like, mindset, and, like, I try to meditate as frequently as I possibly can. Like, definitely not the best at it, like, most consistent. Like, I try to keep a gratitude journal and just, like, try to maintain, like, a positive mindset. Like, being an artist, and I'm sure anybody that might be watching right now, and I know, I'm sure you could relate to this as well. Like, being an artist, there's, like, a shitload of ups and downs. You know, one day you could, like, in the best mood, and the next day, like, you could be in the shittiest mood. Like, what are some things that you do? And I guess, you know, kind of like pieces of advice for any artist or anybody that's chasing any type of dream or passion that goes through that roller coaster of shit. Like, what are things that you do that, like, help you maintain your sanity?
Good question. I would say, like I said before, like staying active is a big part of what I do. I think, like, just keep taking your mind off, like, music completely, can actually, like, benefit, like, taking your mind off, like, what you're focused on probably 80% of the day for a good 2 or 3 hours, just completely forgetting about it, is a good way to kind of reset and refresh yourself.
Yeah.
If I'm ever feeling like in a low, like feeling like doubting myself, stuff like that, I just know it's like temporary, and I kind of try to use that as inspiration to make new music. Or sometimes I can't find like a beat, or can't find like a song, or just not really making any songs I really like. But that time, like that moment, you like do find that beat, or you do find that song that you're like, whoa, like this is gonna be a hit. That kind of just snaps you out of like any low feeling you're at. So I just
Yeah.
realize it's only temporary. I just like kind of keep going, keep staying focused on what's the reason I did decide to move full time, why I did decide to take this as a career path, and not really like feel too much about like the lows, I guess, in the situation, not like overwhelm myself, or overthink. I would say that's a better word. Overthink,
Yeah.
like the lows.
Yeah. Right. You overthink. Yeah. Right.
Yeah.
No, like, dude, it's insane. Like, how, and I can relate to that on, like, such a close level, like, in terms of, like, you know, you're writing shit that you don't like, or like you said, like, I don't think people really know, like, when you're listening to beats, whether it's on, like, maybe like BeatStars or SoundCloud, or like you're listening to a pack that a producer sent you, that's like a taxing fucking thing to do. Like, listening to beat after beat, that shit, like,
Yeah.
sucks the energy out of you, and I feel like it almost sucks the creativity out of you, because you're trying to like, you're trying to put ideas to the production and see if this fits, or see this. It's like, it's a really taxing process. I feel like a lot of people don't fully understand, like, how many hours are probably not wasted, but like how many hours are dedicated, like, from artists to just like listening to beats that they'll probably, you know, they end up never.
Yeah. And it's really about the mindset too. Like, sometimes I've listened to beats where I'm just like in a different mindset, or like maybe it's like a bad day, or maybe I'm just like in a mood for like a certain type of beat, and then so I'm like listening to all these like beats that aren't my style, still dope beats, but I just don't really feel like it's anything I want. But then I come back like a few days later, check them out again, I'm in a different mindset, and I've made so many like songs that are bangers, that just from like coming back to the beats the next day, and just having a new like outlook, or new inspiration, and being able to write something pretty quick. So it's definitely like weird how like your brain or whatever, your creativity can spark, and depending on the day.
Yeah, dude, have you ever like finished a song idea that you maybe started like 2 years ago? I feel like I do that all the time. Like, I just find an old idea in my email or
Yeah.
something.
I don't know, about 2 years ago. It's definitely probably like closer to a year, or so, like a few months. But yeah, no, I definitely kind of had that experience where we
Yeah.
hear something that you were working on for a long time ago, and obviously you've gotten better since then, so you are able to make something pretty dope.
Yeah, for sure. Yo, somebody just commented. By the way, people that are hopping in here, there's plenty of people commenting, and that's like that's like awesome. So thank you for that. If you have any questions for J-Wright, or myself, I guess, you could pop a question in the little question square at the bottom. Somebody did just comment and had a great question that I wanted to really quickly address. Are you uploading the live stream somewhere? In Germany, it's 2 a.m. right now, and I have to get it. Well, the fact that you're watching is fucking amazing that you have to get up in 5 hours. But yeah, so I'm hoping to. This is the first episode of this, so I'm still trying to figure things out. I'm actually, as I talk, myself is lagging, so it's like fucking with my head right now. But I do plan on uploading this to Instagram, so I'm still learning. If hopefully that works. If for some reason I can't figure that out, future episodes definitely going to upload. So thank you for watching. Do you want to get to some like fan questions?
Yeah, I'm down.
Word up.
Let's
All
see.
Right, here. Now, are you able to access these on your end?
Yeah, I can see. I'm scrolling through right now.
Oh, go through. Yeah, go through them. I didn't know if I had to do that or not. Learning slowly.
All right. Someone asked, do you find it's easier to write songs about unhappiness than positive stuff?
It's a good question.
Yeah, I mean, depends on like where I'm at. I mean, I would say a few months ago I was pretty much only writing breakup songs, but which ended up being a sign in its own. But
oh geez, I'm sorry.
Oh no. But yeah, now I wouldn't be able to write one. I mean, I'm just in a much better place and just staying positive. So it really depends on where you're at. So how about you, man? You got to answer that.
Yeah, that is a really good question. I don't know, like you hit the nail on the head, man. Like in terms of like you make songs based on what you're going through at the time, like what mood you're in.
Yeah.
It's insane. I can't remember who. I keep referring to conversations I just had, and my memory sucks ass, and I can't remember who I had them with. But I was just talking about just how powerful your brain is, like how it literally controls like absolutely everything. And like this is like a great question where it's like, is it easier to write about happy or sad shit? If I'm sad, it's easier to write about sad shit because like, you know, making music is like, and I know you have plenty of songs that are like this. It's therapy. Like you can tell the music's therapeutic. Like you can tell it's about topics that are genuine. You know, you can tell that it comes from like the soul. You know what I mean? Like you're getting it out. It's therapeutic. It's great for listeners to hear and it helps them get through their stuff. But like it came from a place where you just needed to express yourself and like get it out. You know what I mean?
Yeah, for real. No, it definitely. I've gotten over stuff so much quicker with music.
Yeah,
you can just
yeah,
and you get paid for it too, so it's all good. Win-win.
Win-win. So like since the album drops in 2 days, and again, if you didn't listen earlier, if you weren't in the live, J-Wright has an album dropping in 2 days, and I don't want to say the wrong name because I think I know, but I'm not 100%. But what's the name of the album again?
Rain and Fire.
Rain and Fire. So there we go. Talk about like the two sides of
yeah.
That's
basically mind. What it's. Yeah, that's the main reason why I named it that, is because it's a mixture between like sadder, poppier songs and then obviously the harder hitting ones. So
yeah. So like what's your favorite song on the album?
I would say either Youth or Immortal. I've already released. I mean, there's one a favorite song I haven't released is the song, either our song or the song Believe, with my friend Alex Preston. It's probably like another of the more of the hit, like poppier hit like type songs. And then but songs in general, I'd say either Immortal or Youth would probably be my
Immortal's
my
the one with Immortal's the one with Dylan Reese on the hook, right?
Mm-hmm.
Shit's so hard.
Yeah.
Dude, that song is fucking phenomenal.
Appreciate it, man. Yeah.
Good choice. Good choice for the lead single. That was your lead single, right?
Yeah, pretty much. Yeah. Yeah. It was like the fourth single, yeah. So
Yeah.
the one we really pushed. But yeah, no, I'm pumped.
What are your expectations for it? I mean, like an album is a pretty big deal. I know you've put out like a handful of projects and albums in the past. I know you have at least two. I was creeping on your Spotify today. But like in terms of expectations with the album, like what do you want? Like what do you want? Where do you want this to like position you? What do you want fans to get out of this? Like if you look back, like once the album has been out, what are you hoping to see to be like this was a fucking success?
Yeah, I mean, that's a good question. I mean, obviously, definitely want to get hopefully each song over like 300K within the first, I would say, 2 or 3 months. I feel like each song has like its own like uniqueness about it where it can get pushed that hard. Hopefully land my biggest goal like in this year, either in 2021, because once I start releasing singles and stuff, is to land a Spotify playlist and all that. So I'm hoping at least one of the songs would hit or land on Spotify playlist or just push it over that edge. We got pretty decent marketing plan for it on both Spotify, on the Spotify platform and on social media, so like Instagram and all that. So I feel like we are in a good position for it to definitely get a lot of traction. And numbers wise, I mean, I didn't really push like a pre-order as hard, just because I know a lot of people aren't using iTunes as much, and I felt like for this one, I wanted to focus on the pre-saves and just kind of build the streamings, because I think that's where it's headed. I know a lot of people are still focused on the pre-orders, and I definitely could have, but at this time, I felt I wanted to stay with the pre-saves and kind of focus on the streaming part of it rather than the pre-orders. So don't really have any goals that like charting or anything like that on iTunes, but with Spotify and Apple Music, definitely hoping for some solid numbers there, but not really anything. I don't really have anything specific. Like I said, this album has been in the works for a while. I'm super pumped about it, and I think it's going to do really good. But I'm in the kind of mindset. I'm even more excited about the music coming after.
Yeah, absolutely. And you're with 1RPM now, right?
Yeah.
That's dope, because I know they have those resources, man. So they can definitely, I mean, obviously, you know, I don't want to say pull some strings, but put you in some great positions in terms of
they've definitely done good. Definitely done good. I think after the album, I'm gonna be going fully independent again. Just do like DistroKid, but it was a good experience. Good team. We'll see. Maybe down the road, I'll work with them again.
Yeah.
I'm seeing a lot of artists nowadays working with them. I think Abstract just dropped a song with them.
He did. I did see that. That's a lot of, dude, that's one of those things that like just being in the artist community, we notice those like little things, you know, like, oh, yeah, I guess so-and-so is with this distributor now, or, you know, or whatever. A lot of people don't realize that shit.
I know.
So after the album drops, like what, I mean, like, I think you mentioned like singles and stuff like that heading into the summer. Like what's your plan for like after the album drops, what's your plan for the remainder of the year?
So definitely singles every 2 to 3 weeks. Starting probably, not gonna release the date yet, but mid-June, I would say, would be the starting the singles, and then I have like just like these 4 or 5 like really strong summer songs that are like summer hit. I would say songs that I'm gonna be dropping through the summer, and then getting more into like kind of different vibes in the fall that kind of fit the season. So still trying to plan it all out, getting all the like the cover arts and all the content ready for it, because I like to be prepared. And probably 2 to 3 weeks. Maybe after summer I might slow it down a little bit depending on how streaming's doing or what's going on, but that's the plan right now.
That's exciting, dude. I mean, you have no shortage of fucking content, which is absolutely amazing.
Nowadays, it's kind of hard to get like photos for IG, but I'm doing like selfies and like, right? Or like the time, like doing like time like photos on your phone. It's pretty rough. I'm hyped to get my photographer back.
Yeah, I know, dude. I'm like recycling old photos and shit just to like
Yeah.
have something to put up because I can't do anything.
Exactly. It's yeah.
Do you have any music videos coming out for songs off the album?
Nope. So I did 3 music videos for the singles for the album. Depending on how well the songs do on the album, and then depending on how like Corona, like whatever's going on in the future, I might do singles or do music videos, but I'm probably gonna honestly focus on music videos for the singles that I'll be dropping if I do a music video, because I think it'll be pretty strong. But I think I got four videos in total, so like 3 music videos and then a lyric video for the singles I dropped. And then Youth, I didn't really have any big production. I felt like that song, if it did blow up, it would be better to have a big production. And obviously at the time I couldn't do much, so did like a little like kind of homemade lyric video to it, and then but yeah, no.
Dude, I know, I totally understand like the frustration of like not being able to fucking like you said, like film or take pictures or anything like that. Again, something like during the coronavirus, like something again, like, you know, the normal person or like the normal fan might not realize just like the frustration of like, you know, as simple as like, I can't go outside and like, you know, I mean, I guess technically you could go outside and like get somebody to take a picture for you, but you can't really have professional photo shoots. You definitely, you know, can't really do much in terms of the video side, which definitely is like just a super like rain on the parade.
No, it's a pain, but hopefully, I mean, I know restrictions are coming down soon in some places, so hopefully there'll be different avenues around it, and maybe smaller productions or different areas that I heard like now, like there's live stream places, like there's venues that are opening up like live stream events where you can like rent it out and do like a live stream now, and I hear different venue places are in different areas are getting creative with how to adapt to the music industry now, so I feel like video is going to be the same.
Yeah, I'm super curious to see how like touring gets affected like in the future with that kind of stuff. I'm a little bit like I don't want to say concerned about it, but I'm just curious to see like what happens, you know, just in terms of people. Like sometimes it's hard enough to get people to come out to shows during non-quarantine time.
Yeah.
But, like, you know, I feel like people are almost going to have like PTSD to this shit and like not want to come out,
I know.
you know, to certain, you know, shows or whatever. So like, I mean, obviously here, Mike Squires just popped in. Shout out.
Yeah.
Mike
What up, Mike?
Super talented videographer. But like, you know, like, I'm just so curious. Like everything is just shut down now. Like at least I had my booking agent email me when this first started happening. I didn't necessarily like, I don't know, like I'm personally the type of guy where I was like, okay, like what's going on is interesting, but I'm not going to like totally halt my life because of it quite yet. And like when my agent emailed me, he's like, yo, because I was supposed to be doing like at very least 1 tour run this summer, if not 2. And he was like, yo, touring's canceled through the fall and it might be canceled in the fall too. And this was back in like early March, and I was like, holy shit, I guess this is like pretty serious what's going on. So I personally don't think, here Mike just said it and I agree with him, like I don't think anybody's going to be touring this year because like he just said it here, like even though, you know, dates might open up, like it's going to be so like packed in, everyone's going to be trying to get their own tours in and stuff like that, and it's just going to be a clusterfuck, and people are not going to be able to make that kind of stuff happen.
Oh, I know. Yeah, no. And whatever Mike's saying is definitely true. Like people are going to be broke. I feel like the venues are going to have a lot more control, I would say, with like who they pick and choose, and like how they kind of handle new bands or new like artists coming and stuff like that. So I feel like obviously there's going to be a lot more restrictions and a lot different than what it was.
Yeah, for sure.
It's kind of like now, like United States, like even when we do open up and everything's like technically open, like Georgia's technically open, but everything's going to be like so much different, like restriction wise and all that. So
yeah, dude, absolutely. Let's get to a couple more fan questions, and then we can wrap it up. Let's see here. I was scrolling through and I saw an awesome question. It's totally non-music related. But let me get this one up on the screen here. First place you'll eat when lockdown ends. Phenomenal question.
Probably this place Taco Mac. That's pretty not too bad. It's like a Buffalo Wild Wings, but like on steroids almost. And they have like the best wings.
What's it called again?
Taco Mac.
Taco Mac. I never heard of it. I'm gonna Google it.
No, it's I think it's Southern. I'm not sure if it's only in Georgia. It's probably not. I think it's a chain, so I think there's more, but definitely not in New England area.
Yeah.
How about you?
Buffalo Wild Wings is killer too. They have if anybody in here is a fan of the little corn dogs that they have at Buffalo Wild Wings, then we automatically just became friends. But let's see here. Man, where I'm first place I'll eat. I don't know, man. You know what? Actually, there's a restaurant right down the street from where I live. And my fiance, she's actually in here. She's obsessed with this restaurant. It's called Fiorentino's. It's an Italian restaurant.
Oh, nice.
And it does have like a really nice view. Lancaster has their own airport, even though it's like, it's super small. So like small planes that fly in there and shit, but it has like a really nice view of the runway, so you can see planes coming in and taking off. So probably this place Fiorentino. So if you're ever in Lancaster, you or anybody watching, if you ever find yourself in Lancaster, hit Fiorentino's if you like some good Italian. Let's see here. What other questions we got?
I've been to Scranton, Pennsylvania. That's about the only place.
Scranton. Do you watch The Office at all?
Yeah, I love The Office.
Hell yeah.
I was there for like a show. That my manager knew some people there, or knew I think it was the venue. One of the guys that owned the venue, so I went there for like it was a pretty small show, but still fun.
Yeah, sometimes the small ones are the best ones.
Yeah.
Let's see. Jordan Cooper blowing it up with questions. Shout out to him. Ooh, I'm curious to see what you think about this. I mean, obviously, it's super situational, but he asked, have you thought about reaching out to major labels? So what's your opinion on just like getting a major label kind of like on your team, so to speak? You know, like obviously, you know, we're all building up to that stage where like that would make more sense, but like, I don't know, what's your opinion on labels?
I feel like I want to be in like a situation where I have more like say before going to the label, because I think especially nowadays, like if you're a smaller artist and you're not making as much, like labels will push you, like they'll say you're not streaming as strong, they'll like push you like to do more touring, merch sales, all that. But like now in this situation where you can't tour, can't do merch sales, a lot of those artists are probably going to be recouping, and they're going to be recouping their royalties for a long time because you're not making your income. So I feel like I want to be in a better situation where I'm at least doing like a 50-50 or something like that, where it's not going to be like a 360 deal or anything crazy like that. So I don't know if it's like a song blows up where it's like getting huge traction and I get reached out by a label and their offer is decent and it seems like it's the right move, and like after I get involved with lawyers and all that, everything's good, then possibly sounds like a good move. But at the same time, I hate being like controlled, and that's the reason why I like being in the music industry and like independent wise, and like it killed me last year when I was like in the situation where I was trying to I was working with my lawyers and stuff with like 1RPM and stuff, trying to get my album released, and I couldn't really release as much music, or I had to wait to like hold the album off for like almost a year and stuff like that. So that just like really like kind of pissed me off by the end of it. But
absolutely, I can't imagine. That's probably fucking infuriating.
Yeah. So I just don't want to be in any situation where I'm getting told I can't do something, or I have no control over what my actions are or anything like that. So it would be really like has to be a really specific, I guess, offer, and I'd have to go through all my like legal and all that, like make sure it's
Yeah.
100%.
Be smart
I'd
about
say.
it. Dude, I just
Yeah,
feel like a lot of people think like you can just call up a major label and like people that don't understand how the process works, like people just think, oh, just send them your CD and like things will happen. It's like,
yeah,
maybe at one point in time, like, you know, way back in the day when major labels had much more power and they were really the only way to go, like sending in a demo might be a good idea. But like,
yeah,
I mean, you brought up a great point, and I feel like anybody in here that's an artist, um, or really in any type of business dealing, dude, like you brought up a great thing, like you said, leverage, you know what I mean? And that's like, I can't preach that shit enough. Like, you know, obviously, you know, when you're a smaller, medium level, if you're on the come up type artist, you can't just walk into a label and just say, hey, I want this, like this is an end of story. You got to be able to put yourself in a position, like you said, where you have that value. And I feel like that's one thing, like people need to fucking realize that, like, if you're going into a meeting and let's say it's, you know, with a major label or really any type of label where they're giving you money or giving you an advance or funding something, or, you know, giving you access to resources, it's like you got to walk in the door with like something to offer that gives you leverage to say, hey, here's what I need from you, here's what you're going to give me in exchange for this, and it's either take it or leave it. I mean, you look at some of the best, like some of the artists that have had some of the most prospering, like long-term successful careers, and like there's so many that I guarantee I'm going to out on, but like just touching on guys like a Russ or a G-Eazy who like built an independent like fucking cult following where they were selling out venues way before they signed any dotted line. Like there's a reason those guys are so successful, like they're global superstars now, because they put themselves in a situation where their album wasn't going to get shelved for, you know, putting out somebody else that was more popping. Like they didn't sign a dotted line and have their creative control completely taken away. Like you got to make sure you're going into situations, like you said, it's situational. You got to make sure your situation, you hold the power. So when you walk into that office, like it's basically, hey, here's what I need, here's what I want, take it or leave it. I'll go to the next office and see if they'll give it to me.
And like the big thing is that you don't want to be the one to have to reach out to the label. Like you want the label to be reaching out to you. So I would never like spend hours trying to like, or like put time into trying to reach out to labels. I mean, obviously my music's not ready yet, or if it's just not, it's not the right move if I'm the one that's having to reach out. So I feel like if it was the right opportunity, and obviously if they're reaching out, they have more, they want to give you more probably than if you reached out to them. So
yeah,
definitely,
absolutely.
I agree with that.
I was just, and I know you just did it too, because I blasted out on my Instagram, the podcast with Artist Republic, Nick over at Artist Republic. When we did, I think I was the episode before you, I think one or two before you.
I think so.
And but he asked me a question. We're talking about like management, and like at least in my personal situation, there's like a situation that's kind of been marinating for a while, and like it'll happen when it happens, when it's right. That's what, you know, that's my mindset with it. I'm not trying to rush it. And like a lot of people, we talked about something like that you just talked about in terms of like major labels. Like if you're the one reaching out, you're not ready yet. You know what I mean? Like it's the same with that, or management or anything like that. It's like, if you're the one sitting here like following up a million times and not getting responses, if you're constantly reaching out and not receiving anything in return, it's like you're probably just not ready, whether it's management or whether it's a label deal. You got to put yourself in a position where it makes more sense. And I don't know, just people aren't patient. You know what I mean? Like people don't understand. Like, I mean, I don't know exactly when you started making music, but I guarantee it's been, you know, 5+ years. I guarantee more than that. You know, like for me, it's been like 8.5 years since I very first started. How long? But it's like that shit.
Yeah, about 8.
8. That's wild.
Around like 8.5. Probably the same. Yeah.
Yeah, and like people don't realize that. People just think like, oh, it just happens. Like, no, like, that shit requires an intense amount of patience, and like I talked about earlier, like that constant roller coaster of highs and lows. And you gotta put yourself in a position when an opportunity comes along, like have the leverage, be able to not reaching, and have them want to come to you, not you go to them. So that was great. You brought that up. I could go on a tangent for hours about that shit.
Yeah, no, for real. It's definitely definitely hard breaking through all the saturation, because nowadays it's just like so many, anyone can be an artist. So there's so many songs coming out every day. It's like, I think I heard like 40,000 per day is uploaded to Spotify. So it's definitely hard breaking through all that noise. And then I mean, just once you do that, that's a huge accomplishment once you like are getting through that, because there's so many artists that just don't understand like the how to promote themselves or how to break through that, and they just always are in like never improving, and never like every year they're just the same. So it's definitely an accomplishment breaking through all those artists that are in that situation.
For sure. Let's get one last fan question, and then we can wrap this up if that's cool with you. So Carlos asked, if you had the chance of working with a big artist, he said such as Juice WRLD, R.I.P. to Juice WRLD. But who would you work with if you had a chance to work with somebody, you know, mainstream big right now?
Good question. There's a lot of them. I would say Chelsea Cutler. I'm not sure if she's like a mainstream artist. I mean,
she is amazing. She's amazing.
Yeah. I feel like, yeah, she'd kill a hook. Black Bear would be dope. I don't know, probably like more singers. Just because I feel like I work better with singers, and I like that kind of how I can able to work with like our kind of match our styles, not match or combine our styles. That's a better word. Combine our styles and just make it into like something dope. But yeah, for rap wise, I'd say Russ probably. Even though he doesn't really do features, but I don't know. That's a good one.
No, those are all like I agree totally with all those artists. I mean, those are all big in my like rotation of who I listen to. I don't know, for me, like I'm trying to think. I mean, I'm a big fan of Mike Posner. Even though he's not like as mainstream anymore, or whatever you want to say. He's always been kind of a weird, like, great songwriter, and then he had like 2 fucking smash hits, but like I feel like he could still go to like the local grocery store and some people like might not know who he is, which is weird. I'm a big fan of Mike Posner. I don't know, man, shit. I'm trying to think, what are people commenting? Maybe a little spark my Machine Gun Kelly. I'm a big fan of MGK, even though he's like a wild motherfucker. His like new his new style, like that alternative style. Like I just put out a song with Jerome called Come Back to Me, and that had like an alternative style. It was definitely like at least partially inspired by like that, like MGK, like almost like you're bringing back like a good Charlotte or a Blink 182 vibe to like the music. So I'm a big fan of that shit for sure.
Oh yeah.
Trying definitely to think. I would love to work with. I have like I don't know if you do. I have this like I don't know ever had this thought, but like you know the bigger you get, like you start to think about like maybe people you listened to when you were younger, and like people that have since fallen off, like maybe you know like a Sugar Ray or like a Smash Mouth. I think it would be so fucking tight to like make a song with like Sugar Ray. You know what I mean? Like somebody. Totally not really like, you know, they're not really that relevant anymore, but like when you were younger, they were like fucking huge.
No, definitely. No, that'd be sweet. I agree with that.
All right, man. Well, yo, we'll wrap this up. I mean, thank you so much for everybody that tuned in, and thank you so much for you, man. I mean, like
I appreciate it. Thank you.
Dude, absolutely. If you haven't checked out J-Wright yet, you need to do it right now. He has a new album dropping in 2 days. So that shit will be blasted everywhere. So make sure you follow him on Instagram, follow him on Spotify and everything like that. I'm on the album as well. So it's going to be a super exciting time for him. It's going to be super exciting for me. I mean, not only do I consider you a friend and a homie, I'm also a fan. So like, I'm just excited to watch how this rolls out and to see what this does for you, because I think it's going to do some really awesome shit, man. And I'm excited for you.
Appreciate it, man. No, I'm excited, and I'm hyped for everyone to hear our song as well, because that one's going to be a banger.
Absolutely. And a little exclusive for anybody that's in here. We might have more than one song in the works, so who knows? But
hell yeah.
thank you again for being a part of episode 1 of Wavves
No
Wednesday.
problem, bro.
Super thankful. So, dude, take care, and thank you for everybody that was tuning in. And have a great rest of your quarantine, and stay healthy.
Peace, man.
Later, yo.